The following gives a brief overview of the recently finished geophysical and structural interpretation of the Paynes Find gold exploration area. Paynes Find is located within the western Yilgarn Craton, an area very well known for its gold occurrences, which are seen on this slide as the yellow dots. Paynes Find in the west falls on a very distinctive northwest-oriented trend, which is quite well documented with other gold occurrences within the Yilgarn area. It is located along a little blobs of greenstone. Paynes Find itself is part of a greenstone sequence within high-grade metamorphic granites and basement rocks. GSWA has defined a distinctive northwest trending lineament along here. This study was preceded by a very in-depth study of drill core and mapping of the area, looking at structural inventory, mineralization, paragenesis, etc., resulting in a paragenetic sequence of events. Basically, we could identify 4 different deformational episodes: D1, D2, D3, D4. Gold mineralization itself was associated with deformation within the late D2 deformational event, perhaps followed by a late-stage remobilization event in D3. We took the results of the detailed structural interpretation and the geology to interpret geophysical datasets on a regional and on a prospect scale. Additionally to the work we've done in terms of structural and mineralization, we added published regional scale geologic and structural maps into the interpretation. We also relied on published and open source regional geophysical datasets, mainly magnetics, gravity and radiometrics, and their interpretation. We also had available a very detailed outcrop map of the Paynes Find prospect area, which was created by Fritz Witten in 2011 on a scale of 1 to 5,000. An aerial photograph of the Paynes Find area was available. We had a map of the location of old workings available, including underground mines, open pits, trenches and diggings. And of course we used the existing geochemical soil sampling dataset, which was analyzed for gold, silver, arsenic, copper, lead, zinc, cerium, cobalt, molybdenum, tungsten and nickel. The results of this study are shown in this slide. Paynes Find Roadhouse is within the center of this map. The map is bisected by the Great Northern Highway. Within the western part of the Paynes Find prospect area, we've got an undifferentiated greenstone sequence. Information there is very low because it is covered with regolith. Towards the center of the map, the green sequence shown on this map is a mafic, ultramafic sequence, basically trending north-south, running through the map. It is surrounded by the so-called Paynes Find gneiss. It's a highly strongly foliated metamorphic unit of amphiboloid facies gneissic rock. Within this gneiss system, we've got this very distinct set of veins, which was the target of the old mining activity at Paynes Find. And we could also see that the contact between the gneiss and the ultramafic units is strongly sheared. Structurally, the Paynes Find area is located on a regional north-northwest trending shear zone, which is most likely the result of transpression with compression oriented in northwest-southeast directions, as is indicated by the regional fault just to the west of the project area. This stress field acting on the area has resulted in a left lateral movement along this shear zone. And because there's a step over along the shear zones, an understepping step over, it has resulted in a contractional duplex setting with a set of north-south trending shear zones, which we know from logging of drill core and drilling and mapping is usually associated with gold mineralization. In parts where the rock was more competent, just as the Paynes Find gneiss area, this structural setting resulted in veining, resulting in the high-grade Boudinage gold veins that the old-timers were mining and were also the target of Paynes Find exploration. There is regional analogs to the Paynes Find contractional duplex in the Yilgarn. The Paynes Find interpretation is shown on the right of this slide. There's also a further example for a very similar setting. It's called the Yandal restraining jog, which is located in the eastern Yilgarn region. The setting of these two are very, very comparable, and in Paynes Find they have been These structures are very, very closely related to gold mineralization. The structural analysis, the mineralogy we did on the core led us to create this schematic representation of all mineralized structures within the Paynes find area. As the blue lines with a little mining symbol on it, these are a set of boudinaged veins, very high-grade gold veins, which have been the target of ancient mining activity and have also been drilled in recent activities because they have not been mined out yet to depth. What we also identified is a very interesting target along the contact between the gneissic unit and a metamorphic amphibolite to the west. This is a sheared contact and it is mineralized and it contains very high-grade intersections in drill hole, including 3 meters at 92.1 grams to the ton gold in Paynes find RC120 and even containing 1 meter at 271.6 grams to the ton. This target has not been drilled out yet. It is open towards depth and this is also open along strike. By now, this target is conceptual. We might speculate that the intersection between the veins and the contact, the sheared contact, might have resulted in high-grade gold mineralization towards depth. However, at this stage it is not clear at what depth this occurs and if it occurs at depth at all. The Paynes find project area had already been covered by quite an extensive soil sampling campaign, as is shown in this picture as the black dots. You can see the tenement outline as the transparent white layer on top of the map. As it turns out, not the complete area of the Paynes find prospect has been covered yet, although there have been very good anomalies shown in the past. This map shows the gold assay values in soil, as you can see here. Pink and red are very anomalous intersections. Most of them in this map fall on the area comprising most of the veins, right, which is to be expected. However, rather than just looking at the gold, we also looked at pathfinder elements we could identify during earlier studies. As there is arsenic, and as you can see from this map, we got very distinct anomalies down south, as the pink dot and the red dot, and they do fall along the interpreted north-south trending shears. The same goes for copper. Again, we know from the mineralization paragenesis that gold is associated with copper minerals, namely chalcopyrite. The copper anomalies in soil do distinctly fall on the interpreted north-south trending shear zones, especially in the south of the area. This map shows zinc anomalies over the Paynes find prospect area. Again, as with the previous elements, there is anomalies identified in the south of the prospect area, and they do fall on these north trending interpreted shears. The shears were interpreted from the geophysical images. Finally, this resulted in the identification of 3 prioritized target zones. In yellow, you see priority 1 targets. These are immediate targets with identified mineralization at depth. That's why they got a priority 1 assignment. Geologically, these targets comprise the sheared contact between the gneissic unit and the metamorphic amphibolite unit. Within the very south of the area, the geology is covered by recent alluvial, colluvial material. This area is supposed to be tested by an extended soil geochemical survey. We do not have a lot of information on this area yet. However, the gold and mineralized structures do continue at depth underneath cover in this area, so it is considered prospective depending on what the soil geochemistry reveals. Also, priority 3 target is the contact between the ultramafic and the gneiss on the western side of the ultramafic unit, colored in green on this map. This is a conceptual target based on the contact between the gneiss and the ultramafic. There is nugget finds in the past. People have dug out nuggets there. However, this will need some further soil geochemical follow-up as well. An extended soil geochemical survey is proposed in this study as well. As you can see here on this map, the black dots are the existing soil samples that have been taken. The green lines represent an extended soil geochemical survey, infill lines and extension lines to the west and to the north of the project.